This outdoor grill stand is easier to make than it looks and surprisingly useful if you want to use your backyard or lakeside cottage property for some outdoor cooking. The, the legs and the framework can stay outside, but the grills themselves, so this larger one here and then the warming grill up top, can be brought inside for cleaning and storage, so it just stays in better condition, doesn't rust. And as I said, it's quite easy to build, so let's take a look at some of the details on the plans. Your construction work will go better if you print out the plans and keep them handy in your shop for reference. And looking at them now, you can see that the majority of the support structure is made by 1.5 inch by 1.5 inch by 3/16 angle iron. That 3/16 business refers to the thickness of the two sides that come together. So it's fairly thick angle iron. The front legs, 1/2 inch square solid rod. That's the same thing that's used for the grill end components, the components that hold together the 1/4 inch diameter solid steel rods that form the actual grill surface. Up here, we've got the same material used to make the handles for lifting the warming rack off. 1/4 inch is small enough that you can bend that around something without heating it necessarily. It's not a big deal to bend that kind of steel before you weld it on to these upper grill ends. When it comes to these side pieces here, and here, as well as the back pieces, there's something I need to mention. The front is no problem. It's just a square cut front flush with the front legs. But because the back piece here, that you can see, meets the side pieces here, you are going to need to cut this at a 45-degree angle so they can come together properly. Without that, the bottom flange of one piece of angle iron is going to interfere with another, but it's easy enough to make a 45-degree cut here. It doesn't have to be super accurate. I mean, the more accurate, the better, of course, but it's not a hugely crucial thing. It's just more or less about creating clearance so the parts can come together properly within this back leg. I'd like to leave you with one other tip in this video, and it has to do with efficiently creating this grill with nice even spaces between. You can spend a lot of time measuring and marking for the different grill bars, and you're going to spend a lot of time on that, and it probably still won't work out all that accurately because a little bit of error is going to look kind of bad. It's going to show up quite a bit visually. So what I recommend is that you start by welding the back bar on, and you make that square to the grill ends here. But then you find some kind of a piece of metal that's the right width for the spacing that you want between the grill bars. So it's not crucial. It can be 1/2 inch, 5/8 of an inch, even 3/4 if you want. But if you've got a strip of steel, it doesn't really matter what it is, as long as it's long enough to rest up against that first bar that you've welded down. So it acts as a kind of a spacer. You have your spacer piece tight to the first bar, and then you put your second bar in tight to the spacer, and then you tack weld it here and here, and then you hopscotch your spacer over to the next one, and then you put in the third grill bar, and you just keep going like that. So that'll be much faster than measuring. And as long as you're working carefully, you will have perfectly parallel grill bars that are going to look great.